Hello, everyone. I wanted to speak to you today a little bit about what God has been showing me about keeping our eyes on Him. Recently, my husband and I were out walking, and maybe it was the glare, I don't know why, but I was looking down. And my husband said, "Look, did you see the deer over there?" And I had not. In fact, as I lifted my head, I barely just saw the deer running off into the woods and disappear. And I started to realize that way too often I am looking down. And I don't necessarily mean looking down in the physical all the time, but I'm looking at where I am in the present. I'm looking at my situation, my stuff. And I started to realize that I had been missing a lot of things. God was whispering to me, "You need to get your eyes up and look at me and get your eyes on me." And I was realizing then in that moment that a lot of times our situation, our circumstances, the season that we are in, and we're looking down, we're looking at us, we're looking at all of those things, and we don't have our eyes on Him. Our focus is on all of this stuff. Instead, we should be seeing what God has for us instead of where we are in that moment or in that season in our circumstances and situation. Many of you may know that my mother lived with us for many years. She passed away a couple of years ago at the age of 96. And I remember in the latter years when she started to need more help, she went from a cane to using a walker. And in those times, I remember when we would be out, either in the parking lot or pulling into the driveway even in our home, and she would say, "Which way? Which way is the door? Which way is the store? Which way do I go?" And I would have to say, "Mom, look up. Which way? Where is the door? Look up, Mom." And I started thinking then too, that many more than we should, we're looking down, we're looking at our feet, we're looking at where we are now and our situation. We will never be transformed if we are looking at ourselves, if we are looking down or back at where we have been and not where we're going. We need to look up. We need to look at Christ. We were not created to live in failure or have our peace stolen. There is tremendous value in living as a spiritual person, a spiritual man or woman, rather than living in the natural. We get consumed with the stuff that goes on every day, and we have that stuff. We have to do it. But God is in the picture. We look to God, and God works in our daily lives. Of course, we have things we need to take care of every day. Have chores and laundry and family and kids and grandkids, errands to run, work and exercise, trying to fit all this stuff in. But we live our natural life, and we live it from a spiritual plane. We should live our natural life from a spiritual plane. Sometimes we get overwhelmed with all the stuff that we have going on. That happens quite often to me. We get overwhelmed because, we have all the stuff that we have to do. My to-do list never ends. But we don't stop living life. We don't stop the things that are important. We don't stop reading the Word. And we don't stop going to church and fellowshipping with others. And God gives us a word daily to live every single day, in each day. And sometimes with all this busyness that we have going on and all this stuff that we have going on, and we think, I don't have time. I don't have time to be spiritual. And I'll say, you do not have time not to be spiritual. Sometimes we say, well, you don't know my life and all the things I have to do. But you don't have time not to be spiritual. We must live in the Holy Spirit and follow after him. In Galatians 5:25, the Passion Translation, which I'm finding I like a lot. Lately, I just love the way it reads things. Galatians 5:25 in the Passion Translation says, we must live in the Holy Spirit and follow after him. God always sees us as a finished product. Thank goodness. When we focus on and we listen to all the things that aren't even important, not major things. We're looking at all the little things. But when we look up and we see him and just be still, he takes care of all the things that we're concerned about. That song Defender comes to mind. It says, and all I did was praise. All I did was worship. All I did was bow down. All I did was be still. That's what we need to do sometimes. Be still. It's so difficult to be still when we have so many things going on in our lives. I'm just as busy as the next person. As I said, my to-do list is never finished because we get down to the end and we are adding more stuff to it. But we need to learn to be still. Not looking at where we are, at stuff we're in at the moment, looking down. But let's see what God is saying. Let's see where God is taking us. He knows our prayers. He knows the fears that I have. He knows my desires. He knows all about me. He knows all about you. But we need to just sit in his presence and be still. Let God be strong in your weakness. Hebrews 2:9, in closing, says, but we see Jesus. Always look up. Hebrews 2:9, but we see Jesus. Thank you all for listening today. And hopefully we'll have another time that we get together and share some things.